So assuming we've got good foot ability, what does a good root look like? And is it going to be lift dependent? Or is it the same principle throughout?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think I've been asked the one where it's, is it the same across the board? That's interesting. Though I may change my mind later down the road, I believe that it would be the same throughout, at least the way I coach it certainly is. But the way in which I like to cue it is, and there's a lot of cues you can use for this, is simply starting. So for example, if we unrack, walk out of squat, get into a squat position, I'm a big fan of a cadence of cues. Cadence of cues really sets an athlete off in the right direction as far as consistency and execution. I'm a big fan of that. But when that lifter is going through their cadence, I like to start with a splay. And the best cue I found personally is the short foot cue. And typically what that looks like is, especially for someone that's flat-footed, typically that cue is a little bit more needed, is their arch, like they go from flat-footed, for example, if you look at my foot do it, it goes from flat foot to creating a little bit of arch without actually seeing any toe crunch. And that's the big fault that so many people struggle with, which is why a lot of cues such as eagle claw has kind of largely been moved away from, though cues are highly individual. You may tell somebody that it drives the perfect effect. But that's why it's largely been avoided, because oftentimes with cues like that, it causes crunching. So oftentimes it's starting with a splay before we squat, splay, and then we go short foot, or we use something that uses those intrinsic muscles to kind of suction cup